Day 15 of the Advent. So, it says reindeer, donkey, and is that the white horse? What's going on here, Ligea?
Yes, we're talking about animals that carry or pull Santa around. So you've asked me about the deer because yesterday we were talking about nativity animals and there are no deer. Why are there no deer? Because they are not part of the original biblical scene, but we'll have them in this video. I would say we'll start with a donkey though,
Hmm,
because we've had that in the last video. So let's continue with that. The donkey keeps showing up in Christmas pictures and Christmas postcards, for example.
sure does.
And it's the typical animal of Saint Nicholas. So when we're going back to the actual saint that is the source of Santa, then we see him with a donkey. He's not traveling with a horse. Could you imagine why he picked the donkey?
Probably to carry things for him, as most donkeys do. They're like a pack mule, essentially, aren't they?
Yes, but he's also riding.
Well, yeah, that's just for funsies, right? You can't always afford a horse, Ligea.
That is right. That is one thing. As we know, Saint Nicholas has a few people in his patronage who are poor people. Like at his time, those were prostitutes, thieves, prisoners, and so on. So we're talking about poor people. So he himself doesn't have this posh horse like a very rich person. And as you remember, he was rich, but he gave away his money, so he probably couldn't afford a horse after that.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That is one point, but the other one is that the donkey is also a biblical animal that Jesus Christ rides on. So when we're talking about the animals that Christ himself used, he would have had a donkey. And then there is another factor because when you ride horses, horses are programmed to run away when there's any danger, but donkeys are not. And that
Uh
is
huh.
why they're frequently used as watchtowers in sheep herds. So the donkey is taller than the sheep and can be on the lookout for predators. And the donkey also defends his herd. When it doesn't have other donkeys around, then it will associate with the sheep. And when the predator comes, for example, a jackal in that area, then the donkey will kick and bite the jackal and drive it away from the herd.
Huh. How about that?
So
I didn't know that.
it's quite difficult to chase a donkey over a cliff or into the water because they're not like horses. They won't immediately run away from something that scares them. They will stand and put up a fight,
Cool.
which means if you're riding a donkey or a mule that is quite similar, um, they're known as stubborn animals, but they're also known as very calm animals. So somebody who is not used to riding a lot and probably didn't have a horse for most of his life, Santa Claus would choose a donkey because a donkey is easier to handle and won't run away, won't throw him off. A donkey can carry a lot, so he would move slowly with a donkey, but it's also more reliable than a horse that panics.
Right. That's
Yeah,
smart.
so there we have it. Biblical animal, animal of the poor, carries huge loads, and also an animal that is not so prone to panicking and just running off.
So that's the donkey.
Right, so that is why he has a donkey. But there are also versions of Santa, and we'll talk about the different versions of Santa in number 17, that is next week, Tuesday. That one is called Not Santa. So yeah, that'll be great. We have the Dutch and the Russian Santa, and both of them have horses.
Hmm.
And it's specifically a white or gray horse in many of these cases.
You know what it immediately makes me think of?
What?
That saying about how death will arrive on a pale horse.
Yeah, but pale is not white or gray in this case. When they're talking about pale, that is really a yellow dun or gray dun horse.
Oh, okay. Because a lot of portrayals of a shadow rider, kind of a death-like person on a horse, is usually a white horse. So it's interesting that that's not entirely true. That's quite funny. Hmm.
Yes, I mean, a white horse or gray horse is usually the horse of kings or of someone who has authority. And that is, for example, why in Once Upon a Time in the West, Sergio Leone, the director, chose a gray horse, a double gray horse for his villain, because that horse says he's an authority figure, he's someone who's good, he's the hero, the king. But in reality, the first thing he does in that movie is shoot a child.
Damn. Well, spoiler alert for those of you who want to see that movie.
That's how you subvert expectations.
That's a great way to do it, I gotta say.
Let me show you a dun horse. That is actually the pale horse of the Bible. Um,
It's only relevant
so
because
there,
it's biblical.
you can cut that out.
I might leave it in.
Okay.
It's all about learning. It's all about learning.
Yeah.
Even though it's not in
So
the Bible.
there are two versions. The yellow dun and the grey dun. And this is a feral color. So feral horses usually have one of these colors. And you can see that the yellow dun mare also has zebra stripes on her legs. Oh yeah, the grey one too.
Oh
So
yeah.
they have feral markings like the black stripe on the back and the zebra stripes on the legs. Those are feral colors. And that probably, well, when we're talking about death arriving on a pale horse, that probably refers to death being something feral and primal.
Hmm. Interesting.
Then let's look into these horses. So one of these Santas is called Sinterklaas, and Sinterklaas is the Dutch version. The word Santa Claus was taken from this one. When we'll talk about the United States Santa, one part of United States Santa is Sinterklaas because that is where they got the name. And we'll talk more about this when we actually talk about the different not Santas. But the horse has a specific name in the Netherlands, so for a very long time it was called Amerigo. Because that was the actual horse's name, and when it died, they switched to another one.
So instead of just spiritually carrying on the name, they're just like, no, it's just use a different name. It's fine. Wow.
Yeah, let's use the
Wow.
horse's actual name.
Yeah, I mean, why not just carry on using the actual name? I mean, that's like the whole thing, right? That's weird. That's weird. Why only? I don't know. Whatever. I don't make up this stuff.
Yeah, so that would be Sinterklaas, another one of Sinterklaas. So he looks like a bishop on a white horse, and that is a later edition. So around Saint Nicholas's times, it was okay for a bishop to have a donkey because he had also been a monk, an abbot, and so on. And being a bishop wasn't about being super rich. But later, as time progressed, bishops became very powerful and rich people. So later on, a bishop would have had a white horse like a king or a hero.
Hmm.
And then we have reindeer, and reindeer are really, really cool. But I
That's
need
true.
to show you the I need to show you the difference between an actual deer and reindeer. So not every deer is a reindeer. You can tell the difference in the antlers, for example.
Yeah, it's quite a difference.
And then reindeer have snowshoes. You can see this here in the picture where they have very broad feet. And that's similar to the paws of a husky, for example, or a snow rabbit. They need to run on the snow. And with broader feet, you don't sink in that much.
Hmm.
So they're made for Nordic weather conditions, and you can find deer in moderate temperatures, but reindeer are really made for the Arctic. Um, they eat lichen. Have you seen lichen?
I know of the word. I don't remember what it is exactly, though.
Yes, a lichen is a combination of a fungus and an algae.
Oh,
This is lichen. Um,
yeah.
and this is the symbiosis of two plants. So they're helping each other survive. The algae does the photosynthesis, and the fungus helps it survive on stone or on dead tree branches. This is what reindeer mostly eat in the Arctic. Um, so they're made to survive on very scarce food, on food that is not high in nutritionals. Um, so they're very good as Arctic animals, and they're also the only domesticated type of deer that we have.
Hmm.
Okay, and now we come to the Finns, and I have to tell you, the Finns are super cool people, but they're also batshit insane.
Well, that's the way we like them, especially on this show.
Yes. I'll give you a word. This is a Finnish word that is pronounced Poronkusema, and this is a distance like kilometers or miles in Finnish, and it has
Oh,
to do
okay.
with a reindeer.
Has to do with a reindeer unit of measure.
Yes. So there are Sami people, and Sami are reindeer herders in northern Finland and Lapland, and they are using this measurement. So I have to tell you something devastating about Rudolph and the other reindeers working for Santa. And that is
Okay.
that they're very, very slow. They can run fast, but they have to stop every 4.7 miles because Poronkusema is 4.7 miles.
Oh, so that's as far as a reindeer can run.
Yes,
Well,
and the
okay.
funny thing about it is, this is as far as a reindeer can run without having to pee.
so they can run 4.7 miles. They have to pee, and then they can run
Yes,
again.
and now imagine you have six of them, or eight, or nine, and each of them has to pee at different
At
times.
different times. I also love the fact that clearly this has been studied so much that they came up with a word for it. This isn't just a random thing you come up with. They had to figure out exactly how far a reindeer could run. Pretty much multiple reindeer, so they can come up with this shit. That's so funny.
Yeah, so this is why we will have to talk about Santa's helpers later, next week, Wednesday. Because, just with his reindeer sleigh, Santa would be unable to deliver all parcels in one evening because they all have to stop to pee every 4.7 miles.
But you've also got to take into consideration if they're flying, and that would be considered obviously traveling as well. But they might not be able to stop, obviously, because they're mid-flight. So they're probably peeing all the time on just like people's houses and shit.
Exactly. So you
The
find
darker side of
these
Christmas.
yellow icicles on your roof after that.
This is a reindeer pee.
It's not a frozen lightning bolt.
Oh my god! Well, that's I had no idea this was coming today. That's amazing. Poronkusema. That's oh my god.
Exactly. The problem with reindeer is that, in Finland, it's not like Central European countries or Western European countries where you have all this infrastructure and one village after the other. You know this from England, that the problem with no through road, for example, is that they're driving straight ahead for an hour, and you simply can't do this in England because you would run into some village or something. There is no way to drive for an hour and not see anything.
100% in England, very true.
Yeah. So in Finland, it's not like that. In Finland, they have these very long roads and highways through the wilderness, and there is nothing on either side of them. So they don't have fences. In most Central and Western European countries, you need fences next to the highways because you're going at a high speed and you don't want any wildlife running into the street. So it's fenced off. In Finland, you don't have this, and that means that reindeer are causing many accidents with cars, as they do in the United States, because the United States is too big to fence everything off. So they've come up with a solution, and I'm going to show you something. So the main problem is that it's very, very dark in Finland in winter, and it's a northern country, so it's darker around the year than it is, for example, in Italy. They have more darkness than Italy. So you need to be able to see the reindeer when they run onto the street. And one way to mark them and to prevent them from getting run over is painting their antlers.
Oh, that's so cool.
So let me
That'd
see.
work. That's great.
It doesn't actually work.
Oh, does it not? Oh.
They've been
Well,
doing
I
this.
guess inevitably it could go off, couldn't it? I mean, that's the only problem with paint is, you know, it's probably not going to last forever on bone. Is what antler. Or it's just like a hardened kind of, yeah, not like car paint.
No, I mean, imagine you see something like that on the road and you're not prepared for this. So some Finnish rangers capture reindeer and they just spray paint their antlers and then they release them. They don't tell anyone that this is happening, and you see this on the road at night.
That'd make a good horror story. That'd be quite a cool video to get. You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck is that? Why are his antlers glowing?
Yes, we have not Santa, but there is also not deer out there. So there are
Yeah.
many stories about not deer in the United States. In Finland, this is normal. Sadly, it's not working as intended. So as far as I've read up on it, they're still getting run over. Probably because they're too fast and people don't have time to react. And maybe they're just so fascinated by it that they don't remember stepping on the brake.
Right. Oh, sad times.
Yeah, there is one more that is from an art project. So the cold looking ones, the white ones, are real, and the orange ones are an art project.
Oh. Oh.
Does look cool, but the coolest thing today is Poronkusema.
100%. I've got to put that word in like the title image. It's so funny. Because then if anybody from Finland sees it, they're gonna go, "Oh my god, what?"
So let me see. I can probably give you a picture.
Not
Yeah.
of
Oh,
rangers.
I have a nice one. Let me give you this one. That works.
That's it. That's the intro image. That's 100% it. It's perfect.
Great. And there is another one. I mean, we're talking about Finnish words. I can give you that one right away. Let me find the picture so I can pronounce this, but I think we should give people a picture. This is called kalsarikennit, and it means you're sitting at home in your underwear on the sofa drinking beer, you have no intention of going out, and you're slightly depressed. That is one word in Finnish. You don't need a whole sentence for that.
You really don't, do you?
Filling in immigration papers right now.
I'm on my way.
Finally found my tribe.
Right.
Okay, that's it. We're done with the other animals, and next up tomorrow will be heathen animals For example, the giant straw monster goat that we've been advertising for 2 weeks now.
It's gonna be advertised the entire time. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yay.
Day 15!
Thank you so much to my YouTube members and Patreon members for all the love and support. It's thanks to people like you that we can keep growing.